The strange gift box. The human man Damon stood in the center of his small cargo ship, staring at the large metal box in front of him. It had no label, no lock, no markings, only a glowing blue seal across the middle that pulsed gently like it was alive. He didn't order anything. He didn't ask for any delivery. Yet this box was waiting for him when he came back from his last mission. Only one message came with it. A gift of deepest thanks. Baron Zoral. Damon narrowed his eyes. He remembered Baron Zoral well, the proud alien leader whose son Damon had saved from a collapsing mine on the edge of Sector 5. It had been a dangerous mission. Damon had gone in alone while others refused. He carried the injured boy on his back through fire and falling debris. He didn't expect a reward. He just did what was right. But now this box sat in his ship, quiet and mysterious. His fingers hovered over the blue seal. He took a deep breath and pressed down. With a soft hiss, the seal broke. The top of the box slid open slowly. Inside was a girl, an alien girl. She was curled up like a frightened animal, her knees against her chest, arms wrapped tightly around herself. She wore a thin silk-like cloth that barely covered her. Her skin was a soft purple blue and her long silver hair fell over her face. She didn't move. She didn't look up. She didn't say anything. Damon stepped back in shock. "What the hell?" he whispered. The girl slowly opened her eyes. They were large, glowing with a gentle light, like twin moons. She looked at him, confused and afraid. "It's okay," Damon said gently, raising both hands. "You're safe." She didn't respond. She only watched him, frozen and silent. Damon looked around the box. There were no chains, no restraints, but still it felt like a cage. He could see now. This wasn't just a gift. This girl had been sent to him. Like a package. Like a thing. He grabbed a blanket and slowly walked forward. "Here, take this." The girl flinched, like she thought he would hit her. But when Damon stopped and waited, she reached out, very slowly, and took the blanket. She wrapped herself tightly and looked down at her feet. Damon sat on the floor a few steps away. He didn't want to scare her. He needed to understand what this was. "What's your name?" he asked. No reply. "Can you speak?" Still nothing. She only kept her head down. Damon sighed. His heart was heavy. He had seen slaves before in some parts of the galaxy, but this felt even worse. This wasn't a reward. This was a cry for help, wrapped in gold and lies. He stood up and helped her out of the box. Her legs were weak, like she hadn't walked in days. She stumbled, but he caught her. Her body was cold. Too cold. He guided her to a small cot and gave her warm water. She drank slowly, like someone not used to kindness. That night, Damon sat at his desk, reading everything he could about Baron Zoral's culture. In the Baron's world, sometimes gifts were used to hide dark secrets. A gift could mean something unwanted, something dangerous, something that needed to disappear. He looked at the girl, now asleep on the bed, still holding the blanket like it was her only protection. Who was she really? Why was she sent in a box? Why did she look so scared? Just before he turned off the lights, he noticed something on her back, a faint glow under her skin. He stepped closer, carefully pulling the blanket aside. There, between her shoulder blades, was a small symbol. It was glowing softly. Damon scanned it with his device. The translation shocked him. Property of House Zoral, class, forbidden. Damon stared at the words, heart pounding. This girl wasn't a thank you gift. She was a secret, a dangerous secret, and now she was his responsibility. The girl who wouldn't speak. The alien girl hadn't said a single word in 2 days. Damon watched her from the other side of the room. She sat on the edge of the cot, still wrapped in the same blanket, silent like a statue. Her silver hair now fell to one side, slightly neater thanks to the comb he left near her. She never asked for anything, never demanded, never spoke. But every night when the ship lights dimmed, she cried, soft, broken sounds, like someone trying not to be heard. He heard her whisper in her sleep once. Just 2 words. Don't return. The next morning, Damon made breakfast again. Nothing fancy, just warmed protein and fruit. He set it on the table near her and took a step back. She looked at it, then looked at him. Still no words. But this time she picked it up and ate slowly. That was something. But the silence still hurt. Damon had seen battlefields, broken colonies, pirate attacks. He had seen things that made other men scream. But this girl's silence felt heavier than all of it. She wasn't mute. He knew that now. Her throat wasn't damaged. She simply chose not to speak. Or maybe she didn't feel allowed to. Later, that day, Damon worked on his ship's navigation panel, pretending not to watch her. But he kept an eye on the scanner he left near her bed. It was a soft recorder, not for spying but for tracking speech patterns. He just wanted to learn what language she might be most comfortable with. As the scanner worked, it suddenly lit up. A sound. A word. Whispered under her breath while she held the blanket close. Tarina. Damon froze. He typed it into the translator. The result gave him chills. Tarina, old language of the Zural caste, meaning banishment, or the one cast away. His fingers tightened into a fist. Who names a person that? He looked at her again. She wasn't just someone unwanted. Her very name was a punishment. Damon walked toward her slowly and sat nearby. I heard what you said, he said softly. Tarina. She didn't flinch, but her eyes widened a little. She hadn't expected him to understand. That's not your name, he said. Not anymore. She looked down. Her fingers gripped the blanket tighter. I'm not going to send you back, Damon added. Whatever they did to you, that ends here. And then for the first time, her lips moved. She whispered, They will find me. Her voice was so soft, he almost didn't believe he heard it. But he had. Damon leaned in. Who? The girl didn't answer. Instead, she slowly turned and lifted the edge of her blanket, revealing the glowing mark on her back. It had changed. What was once a soft glow now pulsed with a sharper, angry red, like it had been activated remotely. Damon checked his scanner. It was now detecting live tracking signals. Oh no, he muttered. They're tracking you. Through this mark. The girl nodded slowly. I was never meant to leave. That night, Damon used every tool he had to jam the signal. He placed shields around the room, masked the coordinates, and even considered removing the mark surgically. But the device was deep under her skin, near her spine. Too risky. So he chose something else. He opened a secret compartment under the ship's floor, a hidden chamber he used for smuggling cargo long ago. No scanners could reach it, not even military grade. You'll sleep here for now, he told her, just for safety. She looked at the space, unsure. Then, slowly, she reached out and touched his hand. A gentle touch, unsure, but deliberate. And just 2 words came from her lips. Thank you. Damon smiled, for the first time in days. She still hadn't told him her real name. But now, she was beginning to trust him. And that meant everything. A mark of ownership. Damon hadn't slept in 2 nights. He kept checking the scanners, the jamming fields, the girl's pulse, even the energy readings of the mark on her back. Everything seemed calm, for now, but the fear in her eyes never faded. The alien girl still refused to say her real name. She called herself nothing. Sometimes she would respond to girl, sometimes she wouldn't respond at all. But one thing was clear. She hated the glowing mark on her back. Every time Damon looked at it, he could feel something was wrong. This wasn't just a tracker. It had purpose. It pulsed with a pattern, too precise to be random. So he made a decision. He contacted an old friend. Her name was Kale, a cybernetic doctor who once worked in illegal biotech research. She owed Damon her life. She agreed to meet at an abandoned space station, far from prying eyes. When they arrived, Kale looked at the girl with sharp eyes. "She's beautiful," Kyle said, scanning the girl's back. "But that mark, that's not just tech. It's a claim." Damon frowned. "What do you mean?" Kyle tapped her scanner. "This is royal property coding, House Zoral highest caste. This girl isn't just owned. She was marked for breeding rights." Damon's stomach twisted. "She was part of a political agreement," Kale continued. "Probably promised to another noble house, but someone changed their mind. Rather than kill her publicly, they erased her quietly and handed her over to you." The girl sat silently, listening. But Damon saw her shoulders tense. Kale crouched in front of her. "You weren't a gift," she said gently. "You were a prisoner with a golden bow." The girl finally spoke. "They said I was too soft. I cried when they tested me. They called me weak." Her voice broke. "They wanted me to carry the next heir, but I failed their tests, so they gave me away. Like trash." Damon stepped forward, rage burning inside him. "You're not trash. You're a person." Kale stood, expression serious. "Listen, Damon. That mark, it's not just a symbol. It's a legal claim. As long as it stays on her, anyone from House Zoral can demand her return. Or worse, terminate her if they think she's a threat." "Can you remove it?" Damon asked. Kale hesitated. "Not fully. It's fused to her neural spine, but I can scramble its code, make it unreadable. It won't break the claim legally. But they won't be able to track her anymore." The girl nodded. "Do it." Kale led her into a medical pod. Damon waited outside, hands clenched. His thoughts were chaos. He had started this journey thinking he was receiving a gift. Now he realized he was in the middle of a hidden royal war. After an hour, Kale returned. "It's done," she said. "But Damon, if anyone scans her up close, they'll still know she belonged to them once." The girl walked out slowly. The glow on her back had faded, but her eyes were clearer now, less haunted, more determined. Kyle handed Damon a small data chip. "This contains the old registration logs. Everything the mark recorded. Abuse. Records, genetic scans, shipping codes, even the order to erase her." Damon looked at it. "Why would I need this?" Kale stared at him. "Because if House Zoral ever comes for her, this chip could be your only weapon." That night, as they flew away from the station, the girl finally stood beside Damon in the cockpit. She looked at the stars silently. Then, softly, she whispered, "My name is Zerial." Damon turned to her, surprised. "I wasn't ready to say it before," she said. "I was scared it meant they still owned me. But now," she looked at him and smiled for the first time, a small, fragile smile. "Now I want to remember who I really am." Damon nodded. "Zerial." He repeated the name like it was sacred, and far in the darkness, across the stars, someone was watching. The red eye of a long-range spy drone blinked once, and vanished. The Baron's true intentions. Damon had faced pirates, killer machines, and black hole storms. But now, he was flying straight into a viper's nest. He had set course for the Baron's palace ship, a floating city built with gold-tinted crystal, orbiting above the twin moons of Threx. It was a place of honor, wealth, and secrets. Damon didn't come for respect. He came for truth. Zerial, now finally speaking and trusting him, stood beside him, her hood pulled low. She had insisted on coming. "I need to look into his eyes," she said. "I want to see if he remembers what he did to me, and if he still thinks I'm nothing." Damon didn't like the risk, but he understood. When they landed, royal guards surrounded them, not with weapons, but with strange politeness. "Lord Damon," one of them said, bowing, "the Baron will see you, alone." Damon looked at Zerial. She shook her head. I'll wait here, but don't believe anything he says. The Baron's private hall was too quiet. Baron Zoral sat on a raised throne, hands folded, expression calm. His 4 golden eyes shimmered like coins, under torchlight. "Ah, the brave human who saved my son," he said, smiling. "You look disturbed, Damon. Has my gift not brought you pleasure?" Damon's jaw tightened. "That girl, you sent her to me like a box of snacks." "Why?" The Baron didn't flinch. He tilted his head. "She was a burden," he said coolly. "Unwanted, unfit, and politically dangerous. You removed a problem from my house. And for that, I was grateful." Damon stepped forward. "You branded her, tracked her, called her forbidden. Why?" The Baron sighed as if tired. "She was once promised to an ally's heir, but she showed weakness. No warrior's blood, no fire. They rejected her. So I had to either erase her publicly or gift her quietly." "You used her like garbage," Damon growled. "She's not an object." Baron Zoral leaned forward. "But she was human. Not by my choice, by the laws of our caste. Bloodlines, politics, contracts. You cannot understand our world." Damon took out the data chip Kale had given him. "And what? About this full logs of your crimes, you tracked her like a pet. You recorded her tests, mental torture, forced silence." The Baron's eyes narrowed. "You would dare use that against me?" "I dare more if you come for her again," Damon said. "That girl has a name now, Zerial, and she's not yours." The Baron stood slowly. For a moment his calm mask cracked. "You think hiding her makes you a hero? You are now protecting a claimant to my throne. If her name spreads, half my rivals will use her to split my rule." Damon froze. "She's a princess?" he asked, stunned. "She was," the Baron said. "A quiet one, not the daughter I wanted." Damon clenched his fists. He had walked into a war without realizing it. Zerial wasn't just a slave. She was a lost heir. The Baron's voice turned cold. "You can walk away, take her to some quiet planet. Let her disappear. But if she ever shows her face in public, she will die before her first speech." Outside the palace, Zerial waited with the ship's security field active, but something was wrong. A child-sized figure approached her slowly, dragging something behind it. She stepped forward, heart racing. The figure was a disguised bot. Its cloak fell away, revealing metal limbs and a glowing screen. The screen flashed a message. Property retrieval failed. Initiate Plan B. A hidden weapon emerged from its chest. Zerial dove to the side as a plasma bolt scorched the ground behind her. She rolled, grabbed a pipe from the ship's hatch, and smashed it into the bot's face before it could shoot again. The bot sparked and fell, twitching. When Damon returned minutes later, he found her standing over its broken shell, breathing hard. "They sent it while you were talking," she said. Damon looked at the destroyed bot, then at her face. No tears, no fear, just fury. "They're not going to stop," she said quietly. "Not until I'm dead." Damon nodded. "Then we don't hide anymore," he said. He handed her the data chip. "We fight. Her real name is the stars outside." Damon's ship looked peaceful, but inside, something heavy was growing. Zerial sat across from Damon in the cockpit. Her hands were in her lap, her silver hair now tied back neatly. The bruises from her old life were fading, but the shadows in her eyes still stayed. Damon placed a small mug of hot synth tea in front of her. She didn't drink it, but she smiled, politely. It was the first time he had seen that smile since the escape from the palace. "Zerial," Damon said gently, "you told me your name, but I know. That's not all." She didn't answer right away. Then she spoke. Quiet, but clear. "I was born with 3 names." Damon blinked. "The first," she said, "was Vena. That's what my mother called me when I was small, before they took me for the royal tests, before they told her I didn't belong." She looked away, as if the stars were easier to face than her memories. "The second name was Zerial Zoral. That was the name they gave me after they stripped away everything soft in me. After they trained me to be quiet, perfect, obedient, I hated it. And the third? Damon asked softly. Her eyes met his. They shimmered, not with tears, but fire. They called me Tarina, she said, not as a name, as a warning, the girl who was cast away. Damon felt a chill crawl up his spine. Then let me ask you, he said. What name do you want to keep? She didn't hesitate. Vena, she said firmly. That was the name, given in love, the only name that was mine. Damon nodded. Then Vena it is. He stood up, walked to the side panel, and adjusted the ship's identity tag. He entered a new name. Passenger Vena, civilian status, protected. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She stood behind him, watching. Why are you doing this, Damon? She asked. You could have walked away, let me disappear. Damon turned. Because someone looked at you and saw property. I looked at you and saw a person. That's enough. She stepped closer. Her voice was softer now. They didn't just sell me because I was weak, she said. They feared something. What? He asked. She raised her hand and tapped the back of her neck just below where the branding mark used to glow. They tested us for something deeper than genes, something ancient. They called it echo memory, a gift that only appears once, every few generations. Memory of what? Damon asked. Of another life, she whispered. Damon's brow furrowed. You mean reincarnation? Vena nodded. They said I carried the memory of the first queen of House Zoral, a warrior empress who united planets with her voice alone. But I didn't act like her. I didn't command. I didn't dominate. So they declared the tests false and erased me. Damon was stunned. So you carry the soul of their founder? Maybe, she said. Or maybe I just reminded them of someone they feared losing control of. Silence hung between them. Then the alarm rang. Damon rushed to the cockpit panel. A new signal had appeared on the radar. It wasn't an attack. It was a broadcast. A royal transmission, sent across neutral space. The Baron's face appeared on the screen. To all systems and houses of the outer colonies, a human criminal has taken a dangerous political hostage from House Zoral. She is not who she claims to be. Her name is Tarina the Betrayer. A bounty of 50,000 credits will be given to anyone who returns her, dead or alive. The message ended. Damon turned to Vena. They're rewriting your story, he said. They're painting you as the enemy. She didn't panic. She didn't cry. She stepped forward and looked him in the eye. Then it's time I tell my story, she said. And this time, the galaxy will listen. The chase begins. The price on her head changed everything. One moment, they were just flying through quiet stars. The next, the whole galaxy wanted her blood. Vena, once hidden, once silent, was now the center of a political storm. House Zoral had branded her a traitor, a threat, and a criminal. A 50,000 credit bounty was enough to send mercenaries, bounty hunters, and desperate scavengers racing across space. And Damon knew one thing. They had to keep moving. Change our ship's ID again, Vena said, her voice steady. Damon nodded. Already working on it. We'll use an old mining code. Makes us look unarmed. They jumped through the first worm gate, then a second, then a third. Still, they couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched. On the 5th day of running, they landed on an old desert moon called Karev 9. It was a trade post with no rules, no alliances, and no laws. A place where questions got you killed. Perfect for hiding, at least for a while. But the second they stepped into the dusty market square, Damon saw it. Eyes. Too many eyes. A bounty poster had already reached this place. Vena's face, distorted and renamed as Tarina the Betrayer, was plastered across a hologram board. Damon pulled her hood tighter and whispered, "Don't speak, don't look up, stay close." They made it into an old weapons shop. The owner was a reptilian merchant with golden scales and mechanical arms. "I need anti-tracking nanobots," Damon said, "and a neural pulse blaster." The merchant tilted his head. Running from someone? No, Damon said. Running toward someone who wants us dead. The merchant laughed. Then you'll need this too. He tossed a small black cube toward Vena. She caught it. What is it? She asked. A memory bomb, the merchant said. When activated, it erases every camera and recorder in a 100-meter range for 2 minutes. You get one chance. But they didn't get 2 minutes. The floor behind them exploded. 3 bounty hunters stormed in. Metal armor, glowing rifles, no mercy. Damon pulled Vena behind the counter just as shots rained down. Go out the back, he yelled. I'll cover. No, she said. I'm not leaving you. Damon threw her the memory bomb. Then help me. She pressed the cube, and time glitched. Every electronic eye in the market went dark. They moved fast, silent, like shadows. Vena kicked over a crate of ion grenades just as Damon shot it. The explosion blinded their attackers. In seconds, they were sprinting through the back alley, jumping over wires and crates, hearts pounding. They made it back to the ship. But another surprise was waiting. A cloaked figure stood in front of the boarding ramp. Tall, armored, face hidden, he raised a hand. I'm not here to kill her, he said. His voice was deep, metallic. I came to warn you. Damon kept his blaster aimed. Start talking. She's not the only one, the man said. There are others like her, hidden daughters of noble blood erased and thrown away. Vena is just the first who survived long enough to speak. Vena stepped forward. Who are you? The man lowered his hood. He wasn't human. He wasn't Zorl. He was half-blooded, scarred, with eyes that glowed red. I was her brother. Once, he said. Damon and Vena stared at him in shock. My mother was a servant. I wasn't allowed to carry the family name. But I remember her, before they erased her. He handed her a small vial. This contains her DNA seal. If you show this to the Council of Free Stars, they'll believe your claim. You are the heir by blood. Vena's hands shook. Why help me? She whispered. Because you survived, he said. And because if you fall, we all stay slaves. He turned and vanished into the dust. Back on the ship, Damon sealed the hatch and activated every shield. He looked at Vena. We can't run forever. Vena nodded, holding the vial close. Then let's stop running. Her voice was calm, but her eyes held fire. The girl in the box was a princess. The Galactic Council Station hovered above the blue-white world of Cinderus Prime like a silent judge. It was where wars were stopped, treaties were born, and secrets, if powerful enough, were buried forever. Damon had never set foot inside it. Now he walked its endless halls, not as a soldier, but as a witness. Beside him walked Vena, no longer hiding behind cloaks or silence. Her silver hair flowed freely. Her violet skin shimmered under soft lights. And her back, once marked as property, was now covered in ceremonial cloth. She walked with strength. Inside the high assembly, hundreds of representatives from across the galaxy stared down from floating seats, like birds circling prey. The Baron was already there. He stood proud in golden robes, his face calm, unreadable. State your claim, barked the voice of the speaker drone. Vena stepped forward. My name is Vena Zoral, she said, firstborn daughter of House Zoral, marked as forbidden, hidden in exile, given away in a box. Gasps echoed through the chamber. A few delegates leaned in. The Baron's eyes narrowed. She lies, he said calmly. This is a human trick. She is a runaway servant with false memories. Damon stepped forward now. I carry proof, he said, holding up the DNA vial and data chip. This is her biological seal, and this, he held the chip, contains her original memory test. She holds the echo signature of the first queen, and your own voice ordering her to be erased. The speaker drone floated down, scanned both items, then projected the results in the center of the chamber. The Baron's voice echoed through the air. She remembers too much. The nobles fear her. They rejected the match. Get rid of her. Quietly. Silence fell. Dead silence. One delegate stood. If this is true, she said, then Vena is not only a rightful heir, but a living record of your crimes. Baron Zoral still didn't flinch. You want to believe her? He said coldly. A child who cried at the sound of war drums, who broke under pressure, who disobeyed the code of silence. He looked at Vena now. You were soft, he growled. You were not fit to rule, you still aren't. Vena stepped forward. She didn't yell, she didn't cry, she simply raised her hand and tapped her own chest. I was soft. I wept. I failed your brutal tests, she said. But your rules were built to erase voices like mine. The galaxy doesn't need another cruel warlord in gold. She turned to the council. It needs leaders who remember pain, who carry scars, who can kneel beside the broken and still see worth. The speaker drone floated higher. The council shall now vote, it announced. In the chambers beyond, the voting process began, sealed, silent, and impossible to influence. Damon and Vena were taken to a waiting room made of light and glass. She stared out at the stars. They might still vote against me, she said quietly. They fear war with the Baron's allies. Damon looked at her. You told the truth. If that's not enough, then maybe the galaxy doesn't deserve you. She smiled faintly. You always say the right thing. He laughed softly. No, I just say what I feel. You gave me something too, Vena. You showed me that silence doesn't mean weakness. She turned to him. Stay with me, she said. Wherever you go, he replied. I'm already there. An hour later, the chamber lights changed. The results were in. The speaker drone returned. By 68 to 21, the council recognizes Vena Zoral as the rightful claimant of House Zoral's throne. Further, House Zoral's current ruler, Baron Zoral, is found guilty of human trafficking, unlawful exile, and violation of royal bloodline law. He is to be removed from all positions of power, effective immediately. Chaos exploded in the chamber. The Baron shouted, lunging toward Vena, but guards were already there. As they dragged him away, he spat one last curse. You were never one of us. Vena stepped forward and whispered loud enough for the whole chamber to hear. I never wanted to be. The next day, Vena stood on a public broadcast platform. For the first time, she spoke not as a princess or as a slave or as a runaway, but as a leader. I was once gifted in a box, she said. As if I were a tool, a thing, my voice stolen. My identity burned, but I was not destroyed. I survived. And if you too have been cast away, if you have ever been told you are too soft, too strange, too small, then know this. You are not alone. She looked straight into the camera. The box I came from was meant to bury me, but instead, it became my beginning. Later, on a quiet balcony under alien moons, Damon stood beside her. The stars were quiet again. And for once, so was the galaxy. I still don't like thrones, Damon said. Good, Vena said, resting her head on his shoulder. Because I don't plan to sit in one. He looked at her. Then what now? She smiled. We rebuild. Not just my house, but the way things are ruled. I'll stay in the council, speak for the silenced, and you can keep me from losing my mind. And if someone sends me a box one day, Damon joked. Vena laughed. Better hope I'm inside it. They both laughed. No more hiding, no more running, just a human, and a girl who once came in a box now rewriting the stars.